Use code GM for 10% off all GamerSupps products, and come check me out over at twitch.tv/gminers. Thanks. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Gminers here. You've probably seen a ton of clips on Twitter or Reddit or YouTube of the insane damage output that fusion nades have right now. So in this video, I'm going to go over everything you need for this build to work and then how to actually pull this off. This build is going to revolve around an exotic that most people forgot about, which is Starfire Protocol. Most people that know that this exotic exists are only aware that it gives you 2 fusion grenades, but this actually also gives grenade energy back when damaging targets while empowered. This energy we get back is huge chunks, so we can throw something like 15 to 20 grenades during a single Well of Radiance or Empowering Rift. And then on top of this, if we need our rift back, we can just get a kill with a fusion grenade and have it right back up. This exotic is the centerpiece for sustaining damage, so let's go over how to increase our damage even further. For your Solar 3.0 subclass, you are going to want Well of Radiance as your super. Now this can be done without Well, but in my opinion, you might as well just run it. I'm sorry. The reason you actually don't need it though is because we can get the same effect from an Empowering Rift, but for boss damage, having a Well of Radiance is going to keep you at a higher buff percentage overall, and then also heal you so that you don't get killed by the boss. After that, the last ability you need is obviously going to be Fusion Grenades, which surprisingly have the second lowest cooldown of all solar grenades. For our aspects, in the first slot, you can run whatever you want, it really makes no difference, but then in the second slot, you are going to need the aspect Touch of Flame. This aspect buffs each of our grenades in different ways, and for our fusion, it makes them explode twice. So essentially, this doubles the damage output that they deal. For damage on bosses, your fragments don't really come into play much, but in general, these are the fragments I run for ad clear and other stuff. Ember of Blistering gives us grenade energy back on ignition kills, which when paired with weapons that have incandescent, this happens on every kill, so this is great. Ember of Singeing will give us class ability when scorching targets, which all of our abilities will be doing. Ember of Ashes will increase the scorch stacks we apply to targets, which means we are getting even more class ability energy back. And then lastly, Ember of Eruption will cause our ignitions to have an increased area of effect. So not only will our fusion grenade double explode, but if we use them to kill an enemy, this will also create a third explosion. So this is great for ad clear. Now, most people are probably going to wonder why I don't run fragments that make and revolve around me being Radiant. I personally thought that Radiant and Empowering were the same thing, partly because in Well of Radiance, when you are Radiant, Starfire works, but when you have Radiance on your own, it doesn't. So just being Radiant and doing damage, we actually don't get any grenade energy back. It's only when in Wells and when in Empowering Rifts. I wish this was different and I hope this gets changed, but for now, being Radiant doesn't help us. I used this build in the new dungeon and tried to gear the mods I have towards somewhat harder content. First up, I ran Elemental Ordnance. This lets me spawn Elemental Wells on grenade kills, which we will be doing a lot. These will match our subclass, so we are spawning in Solar Wells. With this, I ran Bountiful Wells to double the output of the wells I spawned in. If we get our synergies right, we will only really need these wells to top our abilities off or to get our melee back. So the main mod I had was actually Well of Life. This provides 10 seconds of constant health regeneration upon grabbing a solar elemental well and just helps keep us alive. The other 2 mod slots was where I changed things up. First, I ran Wrath of Rasputin. This allows me to spawn Warmind cells on solar splash damage kills, so every ignition, grenade kill, or melee kill should have been capable of spawning these in, but the chance seemed very low, so it is quite possible that certain Warlock abilities weren't registering as splash damage. And then with this, I ran Warmind's Protection. This is a mod I have really started to like because on its own, it provides a 50% damage reduction. I think that this mod has a ton of potential, so I've started to throw it in a ton of builds to see where it is most useful. So when it comes down to getting this to work properly for your grenade regen, all you need to do is place down an Empowering Rift or a Well of Radiance and then deal damage to an enemy. The amount of damage you do doesn't seem to matter, you just need to deal damage while empowered and huge chunks of energy get added back to your grenade. To do this best though, I run Wither Horde to tick a boss on its own and then spam my primary. And if you want to increase your damage even further, using something like a demo rocket is great because you will have a grenade back to reload your rocket, after each shot. This build is absolutely insane. The damage you can output with just grenade spam is actually stupid and honestly will most likely be nerfed after this season, but for now, enjoy the build, melt some bosses, and don't forget to like and sub. That's all for this video, guys. As always, have a good one. Peace.